Welcome to Edge Unscripted. Listen along for candid conversations with the Edge marketing team on a variety of subjects in the world of PR and marketing and other topics that have our attention. Let's go off script.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Edge Unscripted. I'm Amy Jewers, and today's episode is one I know that you'll want to stick around for. Let's just call it what it is. And what people are finding is that when they choose brands and how they choose brands has completely changed. We are in a different world. So to set that example and maybe prove that point, we're going to do like an informal Edge marketing. Hey, this is all the crew from Edge marketing. So here we are. You guys get to see kind of behind the scenes too on us getting together and how we relate to each other and chit chat. But anyways, so this informal poll is maybe going to be a little bit eye-opening. So team, raise your hand if a year ago, if you wanted to find something, you wanted to learn about a company, that your first go-to was Google. Raise your hand. All right, and now today, if you want to go and learn about a company or ask a question, how many of us go to Google first versus something like a ChatGPT first? So if you more often than not, we got to kind of clarify this. If you more often than not go to Google, raise your hand. All right, hold them up because I can't see. All right, and if you more often than not go to chat, raise your hand, or an AI tool. All right, so we're kind of almost 50-50 here. And a year from now, knowing what we know and knowing what we're going to talk about today, I want you to raise your hand if you think you're going to be going to Google first. Now raise your hand if you think you'll use some kind of an AI tool first. All right, we're all on board there. So hence today's topic, we are entering a new realm with how we're helping our clients get found not only by search engines, but by these generative engines that are out there today so that they become the first to be found and the first to be seen by potential clients. So today's topic, we're talking about GEO. And it's not SEO, it's GEO, meaning generative engine optimization. And we have a bunch of different topics we're going to cover today. So that's why I have the whole team here, because it's a team effort. There's a lot to talk about, and I do want to get started. And so we are going to dive into what is actually working, what we've seen work. And if that sounds good to everybody, we'll jump into it. We're going script as always. And I think first we'll start with Cindy. Cindy, GEO, and it's definitely different than SEO. So what are some of the things that you can share with our audience today about those differences?
Yeah, definitely can. So GEO is more of the practice of like optimizing your content and your brand reputation and your digital presence. And it's not just for search engines anymore, but it's for ChatGPT, it's for Google's AI overview, it's all of these new LLM platforms. So the difference, I guess, traditional SEO, which we've all been doing forever now, it focuses on the keyword placement and how many keywords are in your H1 headers and your H2 headers and the content, and it focuses on our organic clicks. But GEO aims to ensure that your brand is cited, that it's summarized, that's recommended in all of these AI generated tools. And then in GEO, it's more focused on well-structured content, more context, authoritative relevance. It matters even more, all of these things, because these searches may not ever see your website. They may only ever see that little snippet that AI chooses to show you. So, SEO is not going away. It's still the foundation of every website, and it's still relevant. GEO shifts that focus from keyword first strategies to more intent first, context rich strategies.
So true. Like, for example, just before we hop on this call, just for fun, I went and did a Google search just to see how far down, like on the page, the SEO kind of results would kick in. And you're at least 2/3 of the way because of that overview, the AI overview, you're at least 2/3 of the way down the page. Not to mention, you're going to be down also below any sponsored Google ads. Those come up before the organic SEO kind of, so SEO is always big on first page results. Well, now they're going to probably be like, oh, second page results, but anyway, so yeah, that's really important to know. SEO is still important, but GEO is definitely bubbling up to the top. So, all right. Mary, I'm going to pick on you now. And so with the rise of AI driven search engines and assistants, like what are the biggest shifts that you're seeing, and in terms of like how content is indexed and how people are found and how that information is delivered to users?
Yeah, I mean, well, Cindy just said it's not just about the keywords anymore for these AI search engines. They're now passively crawling the web content for anything that demonstrates expertise, authority, trust, things like that. So they prioritize the content that answers real questions, not just fluff and keywords. So it's not just about where you rank in a traditional search result anymore. It's brands that have strong reputations, consistent messaging, credible thought leadership, things like that. They're far more likely to be cited directly in an AI generated answer. It's also important to understand that your content can now surface from anywhere. So it's not just your website. AI can pull from podcasts, social media, PR coverage, and many other forms of content on the web. So it's very important to make sure that you know what's out there, not just on your website. We're also seeing a rise of zero-click answers. So when you Google search and the first thing that comes up is an AI-generated answer, you don't have to do anything. You can just read that and use that answer. And I feel like a majority of people do today. But that's where users can get what they need without ever visiting a website. That means your content needs to be clear, credible, and structured for the AI to understand and be able to summarize, because summarized content is quickly becoming the new norm. So people are using that more often than not in today's society.
Absolutely. Really good point. Zero-click answers. That's where we're headed. And honestly, I love it because it just gives me what I want.
Yeah.
And that's the society that we live in.
I have a question for the team regarding zero-click answers.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel that you're getting mostly truthful responses with the zero-click? Because I usually read it over and then I kind of scroll down to see what other things pop up. Just with AI, I don't want to say being new, but newer to the scene, and especially in our industry and how much we're using it. Are you finding that zero-click answer to be credible? For the most part, like 80% of the time, I guess.
I always want to believe it.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Right.
Yeah. Jen, I think you muted.
I'm in a 50-50 camp personally. Jen, were you going to say something? Or
Yeah,
I'm
I'm like you, Vicki. I'm trust but verify. Right now is still my mindset. Like I don't have 100% confidence, but more and more I'm finding when I do try and fact check or see what's there, it's pretty spot on most of the time. So I'm getting more trusting.
Me too. And I think as AI evolves, it's getting better. Right.
Right.
So, when that first popped on the scene, when zero-click answers first popped up, I was like, what the heck is this? This is really cool. And then I was like, yeah, but is it really truthful? But I do find what you're saying, Jen, the more we get into our AI journey and evolvement, the more credible the responses are that the zero-click answer gets. So.
And the zero-click answer will cite sources now. So like sometimes if you click more, so it's not really a zero-click, you have to click more if you want to read more. But I mean, it cites numerous websites that you can go to fact check it too, with where it's getting its information from. So that's important to realize also. you could be cited in an AI generated response if your content is good enough, you know?
Mhm.
Absolutely. I keep hearing it again and again, like where AI is today is the worst it's ever going to be. It's just going to keep getting better. So it'll be interesting to see what we think like a year from now in terms of the quality of that content and where we're getting it from. Okay, now I'm going to run over to Nicole. Nicole, our client base is typically legal, accounting, and other professional service companies. And how should they rethink their current strategies and in this new GEO world?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of what, we've already heard from everyone else. And I know Mary talked a little bit about this, but, we're not only looking now at what attracts clicks and the content that attracts clicks now, we really need to think about whether the content that we're posting is actually helpful to the audience. Does it answer questions that they might be asking? Does it provide the guidance that they're going to be needing? It really needs to reflect the way people are using their AI-driven search tools to find exactly the answers they're looking for. Mary also mentioned, diversifying your content. It's important to look at, where AI engines are pulling from, and they're pulling from everywhere. So it's not just your website's homepage anymore. You should consider adding videos and infographics and, even doing podcasts like this one. You can take all of these types of activities and break them into smaller snippets for the social media channels that you have in place. So the more places that you can post your content and your expertise, the better chance that your content is going to be found. You can also look at, Mary mentioned your PR strategy. Work with your PR team to make sure that your company and your company experts are being mentioned and quoted in the media. All of those things, awards you might win, industry reports you might participate in, all of those things can help you, be in the right places for these AI search engines to grab your content. So, it's just not about just driving traffic to your website anymore. Now it's important that the expertise you're putting out there is being picked up, and that's what's going to give you the credibility that you want in the marketplace.
I had interesting to kind of back that up. I mean, we at Edge, we do newsletters, we do byline articles, we do podcasts, we post on LinkedIn a lot. We do a lot of those things and incorporate video into our website, et cetera. And I just had a prospect reach out to me last week, and one of my questions is, how did you find us? And he said, I do ChatGPT. And I was like, because it's hard work to do all of this, right? It's a lot of hard work for us marketers to come up with all of these ideas and do the creation of all this content and get it approved and get it published, et cetera. So it's starting to turn. And I think it's an important question for all of us, CEOs, marketers, whomever, to ask those potential clients, how are you finding us? And I know some people do and some people don't, but it's just really, I think what you're going to find is more and more people, benefiting from doing GEO types of activities. So really good points there to throw on that multi-channel, multifaceted format points. Thank you for that. Okay, Jennifer. So speaking of all those multi-channel contents and playing into a successful GEO strategy, how does GEO elevate the importance of non-website touch points?
Well, Nicole just talked about it. We've been chatting about it a little bit here. Multi-channel content, whether it's video, podcasts, social media content, is all playing a really critical role in successful GEO strategy, especially I think in B2B markets, because buying journeys can be really complex and they require building trust. And as we were talking about, GEO responses it's all about the credibility. They're making a judgment. They're not just giving you results based on keywords. The AI is making a judgment about what out there is credible and reputable, and that's how the responses are being generated. And so having quality multimedia content out there is really important. And the great thing about it is you can put it in a lot of different places. So it increases brand visibility across the buyer journey because you can put it not just on your website, but posting videos on YouTube and posting videos or carousels and other multimedia content on LinkedIn. And all of that is indexed for search engines now. So they're finding it. It also helps when you embed all those things on your website. It helps with dwell time. It keeps people on your site longer. It keeps them engaged more. It keeps them where you want them for longer periods of time, which in the traditional SEO world still continues to help. The Google algorithms care a lot about how much time people are spending on those pages. So taking advantage of all of that, I think is a really good way to go. And like I said, the social media platforms in their own right are search engines. YouTube and LinkedIn, you can search on all of those. And all of that is playing into what the LLMs are producing in their response. So the buyers you're trying to reach can encounter your brand for the first time on any of a number of places, LinkedIn, YouTube, on podcasts, and other sources that have video embedded, not just on your homepage. And I think we could do an entire episode talking about video content, for example, and all the different examples we have of how you can convert this conversation we're having right now could have been a written article that's just static and posted out there somewhere, but it will be a video that's hosted. And it's just one example of all the types of content that you can produce and put out there that are going to help you in the long run with GEO.
And you can bet that we're going to take this podcast and abuse it like crazy across every platform we can possibly can. So this is an awesome starting point. And to your point, Jennifer, just, finding other ways to get in front of your prospects or clients. You just always have to be on top of your game to make sure that that's happening. So Vicki, turning to you, PR, something that Edge has, the company actually started as a PR firm, but now we do pretty much everything. PR is a very huge anchor for us, and especially, building thought leadership, earning, citations or quotes in reporter written stories, and getting out there and just demonstrating your expertise, but also helping the industries move forward and from, learnings, et cetera, and educating. So how does PR play in the world of GEO compared to classic link building SEO?
Right, that's a great question. I'm finding that GEO, public relations, is crucial. It really does impact that. More citations and mentions in reputable sources really will lift your brand's authority, not only in the eyes of users, but also in AI engines. So it's really important to get those mentions and citations out there. We're talking now, I don't want to say that we don't put out quality content or hadn't before with SEO, but I think there's more strategy going into meaningful content and how it's going to get into those AI search engines. I will say that AI weighs brands' expertise. Citations and authentic mentions are much more heavily weighed than traditional backlinks were in SEO. So I'm seeing a lot of that. And as Jennifer talked about with multimedia channels and different content strategies with that, we're seeing a lot of thought leadership articles, guest posts, expert commentary, video. Video is so hot. I'm seeing so much video in PR right now because as consumers, we all click on videos. I mean, it's so easy to watch a 30-second reel and get what you need to get out of it. So thank you for talking about video, Jennifer. Sorry, tangent. Anyways, so thought leadership articles, guest posts, and expert commentary will help you own topics in generative search engines. PR will feed GEO by earning trust signals that machines can detect and elevate. So that's kind of what I am seeing in the PR space regarding GEO.
Thinking about the thought leadership articles, I mean, those have to pass the test of the editors. So So you need to
Totally.
make sure that your content is original and thought-provoking and
Yes.
non-salesy and whatever else. And we do help our clients keep in check with that. It's always been important to PR, but now when we're embarking on this GEO world, it's even more important, in my opinion. Does everybody feel that way too? Yeah.
I think if you guys remember a couple of weeks ago, I shared an article I read about the importance of earned media and how much it was influencing response results with generative platforms. And we did some anecdotal testing with our own client base over the last however many decades we've been doing this, but short term, long term. And just anecdotally, we found among some of our own clients that the rankings, if you will, that they're getting, the ones who are doing consistent media outreach, press releases, getting thought leadership articles placed, awards, things like that, were showing up much higher in some of those responses than those who weren't. So
Absolutely.
at least some anecdotal evidence of it.
Hey, Cindy, so for firms that are just, or companies that are just starting to pivot towards GEO, what kind of steps can they take today to start just moving in that direction and making success happen?
I have 3 different ideas for what firms could do. So, and it's always hard to do everything all at once. So I think it's important just to tackle one thing at a time. So a good place to start is to rewrite your content for AI tools. Write content that AI loves. Rewrite or expand your high-performing pages. Work on your thought leadership assets. Make them as clear and structured as possible. AI likes Q&A or FAQs and ultimate guides. AI likes answers to common client questions. So make sure, so rewrite your content and make sure the content is authoritative and trustworthy. Another idea is to start collaborating more closely with PR, like we've just been talking about. And if you're already working with Edge, you're in a good place. Pursue those byline articles, pursue those credible mentions, and get on those third-party authority sites. Finally, I think everybody actually should be doing this, but start monitoring how often your brand is referenced in AI generative summaries. So there are some tools that are available out there. I have not found a free tool like Google Analytics yet, but I'm sure there are some out there. I know there are paid tools out there to monitor your placement in AI tools. I did just find today, HubSpot offers a free AI search grader tool. So that's what it was called, AI search grader tool. Google that and put your website in it. I haven't tried it yet, but it's worth the effort, I think. So that's it. I think 3 ideas: rewrite your content, stick with your PR, and start monitoring how you place.
I found another one of those tools actually today. It's called llmrefs.com. It's not free. It has a free platform where you can enter your company's URL and one of your keywords. So the free platform allows you to enter one keyword, and then a paid one, you can add as many keywords as you want. So for edgemarketing.com, you put in marketing agency as your keyword, and it shows you where in those tools you would place.
That's cool. And I was, as we were talking about this, I'm like, here's an opportunity for somebody to develop a product. And here you go. We already have 2.
Yep.
All right. Because we want to know. I mean, we're big into stats. We're big into tracking. We want to make sure that we're, being effective and getting results. And so that's awesome. Okay. So Tanya, you are on the hot spot, hot chair, whatever, hot seat. So looking ahead, how do you see the role of GEO evolving? And, and talking about that ROI and talking about impact and marketing and PR and what we're doing. So what do you expect?
think I can speak for everyone and say that it's entirely going to change how we measure ROI. In the past, we've gone on clicks. It's going to be much more important now how much we're cited. Citation frequency, average position in generative answers, and brand sentiment in AI platforms. It's not just about clicks and rankings anymore, because we don't need clicks to be put in front of audiences anymore. We want clients to care more about being the trusted resource, the referenced answer, rather than winning on a search engine results page. And GEO is going to push firms to invest more in thought leadership, as everyone's been saying, content authority, and digital PR as core business strategies. It's going to blend more. Marketing, communications, and data teams are going to be working more closely together to nurture that kind of growth. And again, to kind of summarize what we've been talking about this whole time, the future belongs to the brands who own the conversation across all channels, platforms, and technologies.
Very true. Yeah, and we did kind of hit on it earlier, video and how video is becoming, and we've been talking about video as, important first because content is king, which is video content is even going to be what's above a king. I don't know. But anyways, I feel like everything that I'm seeing, hearing, and reading about is about video. And in my mind, why I think that's so important and it's going to become a key factor. YouTube is growing, Google searches are going to be lessening, and people, I think, just with AI in general, it's like when you're looking at your social media, your TikToks or your wherever, Facebooks or wherever, Instagram, wherever you are, sometimes when I see a video, I'm like, is this real? And sometimes it's not real, whatever else. So I think like having real people doing podcasts like this and having conversations and just authentic video messaging, whether it's short form video, long form, whatever, and getting that up onto YouTube is something that we're going to be recommending to all of our clients if they're not doing it already, because that's kind of the shift that's going to be happening as well. And that could be a whole nother podcast, I suppose. Well, you guys, if there's no other additional thoughts, I'll open the door real quick to see if there's any other bright spots that we want to highlight. Okay, so I feel like we've given our audience a lot of really valuable insights and takeaways, and thanks to all of you listeners who have tuned in to Edge Unscripted. If you're ready to move beyond SEO, don't forget about SEO, but move, in addition to SEO, move beyond it to GEO. Let's connect, let's, talk, and we're here to help. And so be sure to subscribe to this podcast so that you can keep up to date on insights and trends, and we can keep leading this change together. So until next time, stay tuned, stay curious, and we will talk with you later. Thank you.
This has been Edge Unscripted. We appreciate you joining us and hope you enjoyed the conversation. Connect with us by leaving a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.